remembering where the recording is now, which is positive. All right, Weston.
Welcome everyone to MS Office Hours. It is Thursday, November 14th. Let me please introduce our hosts.
Hey everybody, my name is Heather Cox.
And I'm Andrea Singrio, and we're so excited to hear more about Clipchamp today. Ludo?
Thank you both. Thank you for inviting me on these office hours. I wanted to indeed thank you for all your super helpful feedback to help us include Clipchamp into the EDU SKUs. I'll get in more details, but I'm just stealing the thunder a little bit. So the goal today is to give you a quick overview of what Clipchamp is, open it up to a Q&A and hopefully learn from your use case and things that we should take into account. I might have some of my colleagues. My team is based in Australia, so it's a time of the day that's very early for Australia. But I'll make sure I, of course, debrief them about this interaction with you all. So let me give you a quick overview of Clipchamp, the type of functionalities that we've been shipping lately, and open up for the discussion, as I said. So Clipchamp was acquired by Microsoft in 2021 in September. You have to remember back then it was COVID. A lot of people were spending their day on video calls, and video was critical, right? We couldn't meet in person. And so back then we had massive growth. A lot of people would actually create videos, edit videos, and communicate through videos. So it was the right time for Microsoft to modernize Windows Movie Maker, right, which essentially was the tool that you had with Windows, right? So Clipchamp was seen by Microsoft as a modern web version of Windows Movie Maker that could work multi-platform, and I could help join the family, not only Windows but also Office, M365, and so on and so forth. So the messaging initially was really focused on creators, the consumer part of the business, because on the consumer version of Clipchamp, you can create videos that you can export natively to YouTube and TikTok and so on and so forth. But of course, we had in mind the idea of making it available more in a business context and also in an educational context. Just so you know, the number one audience that I talk to in the enterprise space, commercial side of the business, is training, learning teams. So essentially a lot of overlap with the education world. So the mission of Clipchamp didn't change post-acquisition. It's really to empower anyone to tell stories worth sharing. I think the important word is anyone. We are not a professional tools. So if you have needs that are way beyond, what Clipchamp can offer, this is not something we can promise to deliver in the product. We want to keep it really simple. We want to make sure that anybody can create a video, right? We all have bad memories of creating birthday or wedding videos and taking hours to do the editing. The idea is that we want to avoid that. We want to make it super simple. So quickly, I want to go over what happened over the past 3 years, right, since the acquisition. First of all, we work with the Windows team to pre-install Clipchamp in Windows. So if you buy a Windows PC, you'll have the little purple logo pre-install. You have the desktop app, which embeds the web app. And so that's essentially, as I said earlier, the new web modern version of Windows Movie Maker. In fact, we worked pretty deeply to integrate Clipchamp in the OS. So if you right-click on an MP4 on a video file, Windows would suggest that you edit it with Clipchamp natively at the OS level. Then we worked to integrate Clipchamp into Office and more recently into M365 with all the other flagship application, right? And in November last year at Ignite, so exactly a year ago, we made the announcement it was available to enterprise SKUs, enterprise version of M365. And then we've been working hard to add that to the EDU SKUs, and that's not new news. I think the announcement was made in June. It was real over the course of the summer. Depending on your tenants, where you're based in the world, it took a few weeks, a few months to actually be deployed everywhere. But now I'm happy to officially say that, yeah, Clipchamp is part of A3 and A5. Not A1 at the moment, so I know I'm going to have the question. So Obviously, we had massive adoption. If we look at the reporting, we have a lot of educational institutions who are getting into our top 50, top 20 customers because the adoption is going fast. And so we thank you for that. And of course, we're monitoring that closely and hope we can even accelerate that adoption. Yeah, so I don't have a lot of materials. It's still like the very beginning for us, right? Again, we are, when you think about it, we're still new within the Microsoft world. We're still very new in the education world, so bear with us. But of course, our team will over time build some content and things like that on our website to actually, help you promote, evangelize the use of a video editor. So that said, I wanted to play a quick video that for those of you who never played with Clipchamp, you get some sort of idea of what you can accomplish with it. So hopefully the video will play, and please give me a thumbs up to make sure you have the sound. All right. Yes. So as you can tell, this is not a French accent in that video, nor an Australian accent. It's trying to be generic. But yeah. So anyway, hopefully it gives you a good overview. I can share the YouTube link, by the way, to this video in case you wanted to, help people discover it and get an overview of what it is. I think the key difference I almost posed in the middle of the video when we talked about SharePoint and OneDrive. The consumer version is not on the Microsoft platform yet. It's still on a Google backend. We, over the course of 2025, we're going to move it to Azure, but it was not a requirement, right, on the consumer side. Obviously, when it comes to Microsoft 365, we wanted to inherit from all the compliance, all the controls, and essentially re-platform entirely the product on OneDrive and SharePoint. So anything that has to do with storage, and compliance, if you trust SharePoint, you're going to trust Clipchamp, essentially. That's kind of the short version of it. So I wanted to share this slide. That's the super simple explanation of what Clipchamp is. It's intuitive. We considered it's a productivity tool, user-friendly, and no experience required, right? That's kind of the way we try to position that. And many times people start saying, hey, we're using this tool or that tool. Camtasia comes up all the time, even though it's much more complex than Clipchamp and much more comprehensive in terms of feature sets. For us internally at Microsoft, we try to compare ourselves more to PowerPoints. A lot of people, when they want to talk about a topic, whether you're a student or a teacher or somebody who is doing training and tutorials in a business context, you'll probably use PowerPoint and create a presentation, right? So what we want to also create as an habit, as a daily habit, hopefully, is to use video to communicate a message and use a product like Clipchamp. So in terms of the interface, I can open the product and show you a few things. It's always kind of hard to do a demo of video editing, but once we open up, we can see what we can show you. But essentially, you'll find a timeline. You'll find a media bin on the left. You'll find everything you would expect from a video editor. The most popular features, I try to put them on the screen. A lot of people use that just to assemble clips that they already have and just put a transition in between. Sometimes it's just about adding some text or just resizing the video. Imagine you have a 16:9 video that you want to make square for social media or to put on a whatever destination that requires a different aspect ratio. You don't want necessarily to open a professional tool or something complicated, right? You can just do that in Clipchamp. That said, most people, when they use Clipchamp, they're going to use the webcam and screen recorder. That is fairly powerful. You can use green screen and virtual backgrounds like you're used to in Teams. We also added a teleprompter recently, so where it allows you that essentially look at your webcam when you're talking about your topic. So there's a lot of cool things that you can use. Okay, then I wanted to cover a little bit of what's new. So unfortunately, we are right before Ignite. So I'm sorry to say that, but there's a few things that are still under NDA that I can't share today. But let me give you a hint of where we're going, right? So first of all, the destination where you should go is M365 roadmap. I'm pushing hard all my colleagues, PMs, to post on this website what we're going to ship. So you can actually see Microsoft, if I use my pointer, Microsoft Clipchamp for Education was an item here on the roadmap, started the rollout in July. So that was kind of the best way to stay tuned on what's coming up. Fairly recently, earlier this year, we added text-to-speech. It's probably one of the most popular feature. You essentially can generate speech from text in 80+ languages, changing the intonation, the speed. So this functionality itself sometimes is the justification why people use Clipchamp, right? Because you may want to have an educational video that you create with a very neutral voice. If you don't want any accent like I do or anything like that, or if you want to make it in a foreign language, it is a fantastic tool. It's actually an Azure Cognitive Services tool that we implemented in the product, and it's part of the product. It's been around for a few months now, so you should try it. Thank you for the comments, and thank you, Dwayne, for sharing. There is indeed a lot of community-based YouTube videos explaining how to use Clipchamp. We also added some AI function. Oh, sorry, before I move on, we also added captioning. So with one click, you can create captions for your video for accessibility purposes. Obviously, that's a must. And so this is something you could do in stream once you export the video, adding captions and chaptering and things like that. But we also had it straight in the product so that when you export your MP4, you have full captions that is editable, obviously, in the product. Also, we added removing the ability to remove the background for a picture. You don't need to use a third-party tool, which is pretty cool. And last thing I wanted to mention before I open up to Q&A or do a demo is the availability of brand kits. So I didn't update my slide yet to add E3 and A5, sorry, but brand kit is available. So it allows you to upload your fonts, your logos, the graphics that you use on a regular basis straight in the interface of Clipchamp and add them to your project. For those of you who are admins, not only we made it available, but we also allow you using organization asset library to distribute those brand kits at the tenant level. So essentially, the idea is that when your users open Clipchamp, they would have pre-populated your brand kit in the interface without having to do that manually like before. So this is a brand new features that we shipped. I will put in the chat before I forgot the link on how to make that happen. There is a little bit of PowerShell needed, but it's not too complicated. The idea is to designate that organization asset library and tell Clipchamp with the PowerShell script that it is the source of truth. Yes, Dwayne, it's relevant for copilots in the future. Without disclosing too much, you can imagine that in the future, Copilot will be able to brand your videos that you created based on a given brand kit. And it's always a good exercise to extract from. Some of you might have big SharePoint libraries or even digital asset management solution where you have a lot of logos and a lot of graphics, just to essentially extract from those big databases the minimum what you want your users to use when they generate videos on behalf of your organization or your educational institution. All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. That's all I had for the formal slide presentation. And I can share Clipchamp to show you a bit the interface. But first, I'm gonna pause and ask you if you have any questions.
It looks like Nathan's got one, has got his hand up. So we'll go to Nathan. And then I see two in the chat as well. Nathan?
Sounds great. Nathan, why don't you go ahead? Yep.
Yeah, I actually put mine in chat, but I just wanted to call it out. I was wondering if, as far as the branding kits and some of the other more enterprise deployment facets, will there be accelerators through Unified or just through regular learning documentation?
I'm not familiar with accelerators, so what do you mean, Nathan? What is it?
It's just a service-provided workshop for best practices.
No, we don't have that plan as far as I know. It's brand new. It just came out this month in November. To be honest, we're a very small team, so I don't think we're aware of it. But if you want to send me more details and if maybe I can come and present, record something, more than happy to do that. Yeah, it's
Okay.
honestly, it's I worked with a few customers with the PM in charge in the last couple of weeks, and it's a fairly straightforward process. So everything is explained in the article, but if need be, we can of course go beyond. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Any, I can look at the question in the chat. So motion titles. Oh, thank you for asking. Yeah, motion title is it's a classic request from users. That said, it has a little bit of complexity. It hasn't still made the cut to be part of the roadmap. When I say roadmap, the roadmap 6 months ahead. I would tell you otherwise, but I will make note that you asked for it. It has nothing to do whether it's free or the commercial version. It would be a core editing functionality. But again, it is not something that made the cut so far. Yeah. James, yeah, and so thank you for sharing the story of your daughter. I hope I can connect in a few weeks, in a few months with you. It's only the beginning of making it easy for anyone who is not a video expert, or in fact, who never played with video. Copilot is coming, and you can expect a lot of it. Again, we haven't announced that yet. And if you want to dig deeper under NDA, I'm happy to maybe take meeting offline. But expect Copilot to even revolutionize even more that experience, right? Think about typing a prompt and generating videos from Copilot, things like that, right? So for education purposes, there's a lot that we are cooking. And so by all means, stay tuned. But yeah, thanks for sharing this story. Any other questions? Otherwise, I can maybe open Clipchamp and show it to you a little bit.
That would be great. And I'll keep watching for other questions that might pop in.
Sounds good. All right. No, Ignacio moved to the AI agent team, Steve. So all right. So I'm opening Clipchamp just to show you how it looks like in case you haven't played with it. All right. So you should see my screen. All right. So first of all, some of you might have realized, but we unified the homepage, the stream homepage and the Clipchamp homepage into one single interface, as you see here, where you have essentially all the videos that you played, the Clipchamp project that I created, the playlist, the team meeting recording, everything in one single interface. You see that little message that we have internally on the MSINT tenant, as well as a few call to action like uploading, screen recording, and things like that that are easy, quick access straight from that page. Now, if I want to use Clipchamp, meaning the creator part of Clipchamp, the video creation, the video editor itself, I will click on Video Project here. Yeah, screen recording, Tony, it's essentially the same. It's a component. There's still a few very minor differences, but the idea is to have, for your users, a common experience. This is the same team that is actually building it. So this is the way Clipchamp looks like when you open it up. So it is an empty timeline. So the first action you'll have to do is to go and record and create, or importing some media, right? In this case, let me just show you, probably what's the most popular functionality is the webcam recording. Imagine you're a teacher and you want to record something for your students. And sometimes, we have a tendency to describe Clipchamp in more sophisticated ways than it should be. It's also just a great Microsoft integrated webcam recorder. So this is me. By the way, I don't necessarily want to have my face that big. I can move my face around, be in the corner. Here, you recognize some of the backdrop that you have in Teams, right? That you can pick and choose. Sometimes people are big fans of the green screen where you can actually customize what the background is or just put a blur. So you have different options. I mentioned the teleprompter, so you can type your text and move it around just to make sure it aligns with your eyes when you record yourself. Choose the speed at which the text will be read, and so on and so forth. So I'm just going to show you how quickly it works. Hello, my name is Ludo. I can't be at the school next week, so I wanted to give you a heads on the assignment I'd like you to work on, etc., etc., etc. So it created the video automatically, and you see everything is real time. It's importing in my media bin. It's importing in my text, in my timeline, excuse me. And you can do whatever you want with it, trim, move it around. In fact, the interface looks like what you would know from PowerPoint. You can even resize the video and create another context in the screen. I mentioned the brand kit earlier. I know it's new, so for some of you who know Clipchamp very well, it might be really of something basic for you, but you might not have seen the brand kit. So I'm a Microsoft employee, so I see this little check mark here. I have access to the Microsoft brand kits. I have access to some logos, some colors, fonts, video, graphics. In this case, I'm just going to simply brand my video with a Microsoft logo, right? So I make it happen for the whole video. Exactly. And maybe I'll resize my video like I wanted earlier to fit my screen. And maybe because I have some white, I'm going to put it in that corner, and just with one click, I branded my video, etc. The caption I mentioned, it's just a click away. I choose the language, transcribe the media. So anyway, I see the time is going, so I'm not going to go into a full demo. Any question or anything you want me to show you in particular? If you play with Clipchamp, you might have some questions.
Dwayne is asking if you would show off some TTS voices.
Absolutely. By the way, this is the captioning. I can edit them. I can be at the, I don't mean to say school, but university. You get the idea. Up. Well, I'm going to skip that. I can't type in front of people, but so text to speech is in the same section as the webcam. You will go here and choose any language. For the sake of it, I can try to say France. Bonjour. Good. Okay, so it means hello to the entire school.
Toute l'école.
I think we're sharing the sound. It's going to be
Bonjour
better.
à toute l'école.
All right, so you see it generating the text. I can just save that into my timeline and move it around wherever I want, right? One feature that's actually pretty cool as well, even though it sounds very tactical, is you see I recorded my webcam, but because I wanted to change the sound, I need to detach the audio. So I'm detaching the audio from my webcam recording. Give you a and I can remove the audio, and now I can basically put the text to speech instead. All right. Andrea, help me if I missed any questions. I know we are 2 minutes left. Avatars. I'm going to return the question back to you. Would you have needs for avatar? Is it something that you heard from your constituents? It is something we don't have part of the product. It's definitely an industry trend, and a lot of solutions exist out there. Is it something that would be helpful for you?
Yeah, I was going to say, as Dwayne just said, that's a can of worms you may not have wanted to open just yet, but I'm going to go with a lot of them do. And Marge is off mute. Go, Madam President.
Oh, I didn't mean to be off mute.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, avatars could be a bit creepy and open up a can of worms. I get it, right? But
no, I think that they definitely want them because of neurodivergent folks don't always like to be on camera, but want to be present and have a presence. And so I know that the fact that we can't use them in K-12 is frustrating for some folks. And so I think this education community would really like to have access to avatars, and anybody's welcome to correct me if I've misspoken or misrepresented our group, but I do believe this group would like to have them.
Sounds good. Okay. Well, look, I think hopefully it's the beginning of a conversation on this. One thing, because I know we're out of time, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. There is plenty of tutorials. Thank you again for putting one in the chat. I also put a link to our YouTube channel with a lot of cool videos. Many of them cover the consumer version of the product, but frankly, the basics is evergreen, right? It works also for the commercial product. There's differences in terms of export functionalities and import capabilities, things like that, but the core of the product is the same. One of the things, and that was my call to action for this audience, you've been very vocal to help us add Clipchamp to A3 and A5, and we thank you for that. But we also want to give you an opportunity to be even more vocal with us. You know, we just put together a program to hear from MVPs, but also from regular users. And so I just dropped in the chat the little blurb that the link is called Microsoft User Research. We'd love to hear about your use cases and as broad as possible, and of course be inclusive of education use cases. So by all means, if you're a zealous video editor, you played with the tool and you have a lot of things to say, if you want to participate to workshops, surveys, things like that, the best way is actually to sign up on that website that I put in the chat.
Perfect. And I expect a phrase we like around here is exhaustive feedback. I'm sure this group will be happy to provide that. Thank you so much for joining us today on National Office Hours. We are grateful to product team folks that will come on and share products that our users are interested in. And this is one we've been trying to make happen for a minute. So thank you for joining us.
Of course, Andrea, and please invite me again. Once we have more to say on Copilot, I'll give you a green light because I think this crowd, we really like it. Stay tuned for Ignite as well next week. There's a lot of things that will be fun that we'll announce. But yeah, I see you around. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I will stop the recording and then we'll get it posted. Talk to y'all next week.